industry has to be one of the most fast-paced industries out there. Brands and products, they come and go. But today I'm going to be talking about the products that have stood the test of time, products that I would consider makeup icons that have been around for years and years and people are still using them. And I'm going to be re-reviewing them in 2024. And the majority of these products I have a ton of experience with, but it was fun to kind of put them on my face all together, make sure I'm using more modern and popular techniques right now to apply them, and re-review them in this day and age. If you've been in the makeup industry for a while and pay attention to trends and new products, you should recognize all of these. There were a couple ones that I put in more so for nostalgic purposes, but for the most part, all of these are products that are still available today, and brands are still promoting these products because they are iconic. And even to this day, some 20 years later, they are re-releasing, re-promoting, creating collections out of these iconic products, and they are still selling well. But are they as good in 2024? Do they deserve the label icon? Are they really worth the hype? Can you get better products with all of the new modern technology used to create products now? Let's find out. I feel like I could do 10 videos of this. There's so many other products that I could have talked about. I tried to use products that I had in my collection that I didn't need to go out and repurchase. But if there's some major ones that you feel like are missing out from this video, comment down below. We'll see how interested you guys are in this one, and then maybe I'll run out and pick up some other icons. So the first one that we have, I feel like the chatter about this has slowed down, but it's still iconic. It's the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. This has been around for a while. It has a citrusy scent to it. Essentially, it's a moisturizer, but a lot of people use this prior to makeup. It's an all-in-one primer and moisturizer is how they advertise it. It has a citrusy scent to it, so re-reviewing this in 2024, it has fragrance in there, which a lot of people's skin are going to be irritated by. A lot of people don't like fragrance nowadays. So that is actually interesting because a lot of these products, they have things that people aren't looking for nowadays, like fragrance. This is an extremely rich product. If I'm being honest, re-reviewing it in 2024, it's a bit thick prior to makeup. It's really rich in hydration for my dry skin, so my skin likes it, but I need to put this on a good 20 minutes before I start my makeup. But it really is rich. It really is hydrating. It's a bit rich for my skin. My skin is really sensitive to moisturizers, so I don't reach for this daily because my skin will break out from it. So this, I think with all of the other products out there on the market, there are better primers, but this is a good one to reach for on super dry skin days that you need a heavy hit of rich hydration. This still has a place in my collection. I no longer think it's icon level based on all of the other primers that I can get that are hydrating, but it's very nice. Now this is one that I actually don't use a lot, so I really did re-review it today and test it out. It's the YSL Touche Eclat Blur Primer, and this one is interesting because it has little golden glimmers in there. It's supposed to be like bits of gold in there. I only have a little sample. It's an expensive product, but let me tell you, after using this today, I'm thinking I need to go out and purchase this primer. I do not have a lot of success with blurring primers. One, my skin is dry. Two, I feel like blurring primers tend to break up makeup. I do not feel that way about this. So first of all, when applying it, I really felt smoothness across the face. And I did worry about that with application because I thought that the foundation would slip and slide. And you could easily tell from the non-prime side to the prime side, my makeup was slipping and sliding and blending out really silky-like when I was applying it, and I worried how that would be with wear. Now, side by side, this is blurring. This side, especially right in this area, is visibly more blurred than the side that I don't have the primer. 20 years late, but this really works. Oh my gosh, I know so many people are loving it. I actually just watched a tutorial of a friend who had really textured skin, very oily skin, and they said that they loved this product on their skin type. It kind of like made my ears perk up a little bit. I was like, I need to try that, but it's just not really a new product. And I pulled out my little sample for this video, and I do feel like this side of my face where I applied it is more blurred. So this freaking works. It's expensive, but wow. Now, foundation. You know this has stood the test of time because I've used it since I was in college. It actually was in my top 3 favorite foundations ever, so I needed to talk about it. I have ample experience with Armani's Luminous Silk Foundation. Now, what's interesting is they call this the Perfect Glow Flawless Foundation. This is not a glowy foundation. It's a medium coverage. It's not glowy, it's kind of matte, if I'm being honest, on my skin. But because the foundation is so thin, you can really manipulate it with other products to get it to be more of a glowy base. But more than anything, it's perfecting. I find it's very smoothing on my skin, pretty blurring as well. It lasts all day and feels lightweight. It just makes my skin look like my skin, but so much better while still giving me that coverage. I would wear this nights out in college, getting into who knows what, geez. And my makeup was always flawless. Always had a perfect base on because I would go with this because I could trust it. But it also is so beautiful for every day as well. If I could have, okay, I'm not going to make a big statement like if I could have one product, one foundation in my collection, it would be this. But this is truly one of the most versatile foundations for all occasions in my collection. You can barely feel it on this skin. It is an iconic foundation that so many people use in their everyday routine to this day, years and years later, and it is, if you ask me, an iconic formulation. There's so many trends within the foundation industry. Sorry, I just need a good old formula, and this is it. I do have on my schedule to do a video trying and reviewing all of the iconic classic foundations. This one will be in that video as well, but this is my number one, probably, big statement, of those classic icon foundations. Highly recommend it. And they sell like smaller sizes now as well, since smaller makeup is trending, so you don't have to break the bank for an arm. Well, it still kind of is, but it's a lesser break of the bank with the smaller formulas to try it out. Concealer. There could simply only be, I just thought of another one. Let me add it in case I do this video again. Tarte Shape Tape's what I'm thinking of. Maybe that's for next time if I do this video again. Anyways, for this video, there could only be one concealer in this entire video. And I've got to add, it is a regular guest on my channel, so it absolutely has stood the test of time. Good old NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This has been the best-selling concealer for years and years and years before even concealer was trending. I often do like #1 bestsellers at Sephora. This is always the best-selling concealer. Sometimes, you know, it can be pushed out by some newer trendy ones, but in long term, this one will always be the best seller, and it is so good. Now, it's interesting. Is it radiant? No, it's a matte concealer. It's actually very different than a lot of the trending concealers nowadays. I feel like the more trendy concealers, they're thicker, they're more hydrating. This is a dry concealer, but in the best way, in the way that it's going to last all day. It doesn't cling to dry patches. It is more heavy duty, if you ask me, but it still is pretty thin on the skin. It's not the fullest coverage concealer you'll deal with, but this is like heavy duty in that it's gonna last a long time, but it's not going to look too drying and suck the life out of your under eyes. It is a reliable concealer more than anything. I would say I have concealers that I like better than this, but if I just need good old reliable one that's gonna look good all day, I know that I can trust this. So I can see why this has stood the test of time. And honestly, what is amazing about this concealer is throughout the years, so many brands have tried to beat this one out, but even with all of the new modern technology and formulations, this one is still top tier. So even in 2024, I'm still loving this, and it stands out from all of the newer concealers because it's a matte one. Brands are afraid to do that. They're afraid for the under eyes to look dry. This is so good. It's unique because of that right now in the industry. Again, powder. I could only go one direction. Wendy. That's what makes you beautiful. And it is the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. This powder is over 20 years old, and if you ask me, it is still one of the most blurring powders on the market. It is again a regular guest on my channel and a regular in my own personal makeup routine because it truly is one of the most blurring powders on the market. I think nowadays, powders are a little bit thinner than this one. This one has a little bit more body to it. Makeup by Mario just launched one with some more body to it as well. But I will fall out of this and then fall back into it. And when I retry it again, I'm like, this is one of the most blurring powders on the market. It doesn't make the skin look too dry. Again, 20 years later, they still have a top-notch formula. Now, in a lineup, is this my #1 powder? No, but it will always be a top 5 powder for me. Old, reliable. Everybody who uses it is going to love it. If you go into a store, somebody says, what powder should I pick up? Laura Mercier translucent setting powder is never a bad recommendation, even to this day, where brands are coming out with powders left and right. It is currently a trendy product with winter coming up, and I look really smooth where I've applied the powder. It sets the makeup in. It's heavy enough for oily skin to soak in the oils. Top-notch formula. Deserves to be an icon and still is an icon, even against other more modern powders. I have a cream bronzer formulation and a powder bronzer formulation. Let's talk the OG of cream bronzers. For years and years, cream products weren't super popular. Up until like the last 5 years or so, I would say it was a powder world and we were all living in it. But even in that trend of powders, people were loving their Chanel Le Beige Cream Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream. Now, in the most recent years, they have reformulated this. I found that the older formulation has a little bit more of a powder dry down. That being said, I think the new one is very nice as well. I will agree, I think that the older formulation was better. This one is more balmy, but it still is a beautiful product. Now, this is very, very warm. I think we are more in tune with bronzers versus contours. So if you want this one, it's a little bit orange, if I'm being honest. I have to really play around with the correct colors. Like I can't wear too cool of an eye look and a cheek color, or this will pull orange on me. So I have to pair this with flattering shades for it to look nice. I think that right now the industry is rampant with new cream products, and I can't say that this is a standout product in the cream bronzer formulation. So while it is iconic and it's been around for so many years, this new formulation especially, I'm kind of like, it's really good, but there's a lot of really good cream bronzers. I don't think they're too difficult to formulate. So it's not as iconic, if you ask me, as it used to be. It still is quite luxurious to use and have a Chanel cream bronzer, but it's not a must-have. Now, powder bronzer, you probably know where I'm going with this. Benefit Hoola. For a while, especially in the early days in YouTube, this is the only bronzer everybody was using. I used to say this was a cool tone bronzer. Re-reviewing it in 2024, again, where we have more education on bronzers versus contour, this definitely has some warmth to it. It also is muddy on me. Like, it is too dark for me. This is not an ideal bronzer color for my skin tone. I can make it work. I can shake the brush off. I can blend it out. But I used to say that this was the perfect contour. What was I thinking? That is where re-reviewing products in 2024 is just so funny. but this is too pigmented for me. I need a more sheer bronzer formulation. It also is too flat as well. Not that I need a shimmery bronzer of sorts, but I need something that doesn't dry my skin out. I feel like this almost dries my skin out. I still think it is a great standard bronzer formulation, but I'm reaching for a lot of other bronzers over this at this point. I think this is a phase that will come and go in my makeup routine, and it's never a bad product. I just recently traveled with it because I knew it was gonna work, but I have better bronzers than this, you guys. This is just like a dirty brown powder. My collection, I feel like. It's really nice in the crease, but I always feel like when I put my brush in and put it on my skin, I have like a dirt mark on my face. It's a little muddy looking on me. But if you have like a medium complexion, I think you'll like this tone a lot better than I do. And they do have, to be fair, they've developed different shades of Hoola. This is the classic OG shade, but as they should have, they've come out with a lighter one, which I prefer. They've come out with deeper ones, so that's really great. Okay, you know, there could only be one blush that I could talk about. The most iconic blush in the world is NARS Orgasm. And I don't own it. And I tried to not buy anything for this video. So what had happened was I do have some NARS Orgasm blushes in my collection, but they are from limited collections, just like this. And this is not the Orgasm formula. This is the Orgasm shade in a different formula to fit this limited edition palette, but I just wanted to show you color-wise. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but it's like a peachy coral shade with a gold shift. I feel like anytime I come across a peachy coral shade with a gold shift, it is inspired by what once was the best-selling blush of all time. I do feel like this color with what is trendy now is a bit, I'm gonna say something offensive, maybe like a little outdated, which is crazy to say because it is a gorgeous color, but it's more of a summer color if you ask me. NARS also did reformulate their blush line recently, and I have Deep Throat, I have Thrill, I have a couple other colors in the new formulation. I didn't pick up the Orgasm shade, so maybe next video I will for that shade. So I don't have it, I don't want to talk about it too much, but I feel like this video wouldn't be complete without me at least mentioning it and acknowledging that NARS Orgasm is truly the most iconic blush. But I'm gonna go with a pretty close second here. Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. It is so iconic that Charlotte Tilbury is still to this day launching Pillow Talk inspired products. Now I would say Pillow Talk lipstick is probably a little bit more iconic than the blush, but that's okay because the blush is very, very popular as well. This is her Cheek to Chic formulation, and like I said, this is my consolation for not having the OG NARS blush. So how this works, it's really interesting. These are like nipple blushes. You have the true color here, which is not completely flat on the outside ring, and the center is almost like a highlight or something to give the blush even more sheen and glow. It's been a while since I've used this blush. It is beautiful. It is natural. It's not quite brown on my skin tone, but it's very natural. I don't know, it almost has like a mauve-y kind of finish to it, a really natural, rosy flush. Re-reviewing it in 2024, I'm actually kind of shocked how much I liked this blush. It was really silky, it's not flat, it has a glow without emphasizing texture. I think I just re-fell in love with Pillow Talk blush from Charlotte Tilbury. And if you're like on the light to medium skin tone, this has to be flattering on everybody. It's beautiful. Imagine that. I just feel like we are so into when cream blushes are what's trending right now. And we're very, very blushy right now as in the industry. That's just what's trending. Blush blindness, right? We're all putting on so much blush. We look like clowns in the best way. I like it, don't get me wrong. But I put a soft layer of this on and I was like, you know what? This is kind of pretty. It's nice to not have it overpowering my complexion and my look right now. So it's really nice. I liked it a lot. I can think of a good number of iconic highlighters, but one of my all-time favorites, I just wanted to talk about this because this is my top 3 highlighter. I just recently put this in my top 3 ever video. MAC Soft and Gentle still hits, and I think it's gonna have a resurrection because right now highlighters are not in. If you were in the industry in social media at say 2016, you would know that was the height of having a strip of silver on your face. The more glimmer, the more glow, the more metallic, the better your makeup was. But we've kind of reverted back since we're so focused on blushes. So many people will even skip highlight in their makeup routine. This is the perfect kind of highlight for what is trending right now because it is exactly as stated, soft and gentle. And every time I put this on, it is perfect. It blends in so seamlessly to the skin, and it's exactly as the shade describes. It's in the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish formulation, which used to be very, very popular back in the day. It's like this baked formulation, so it has this super smooth finish that's not overpowering on the skin. Very, very lightweight. I mean, re-reviewing this in 2024, this is still one of my top 3 highlighters, and even more so than it would have been years ago because a more natural highlight is what I'm looking for nowadays. So this would not have been an all-time favorite highlighter of mine years ago, but in 2024, it is, just for this really natural, healthy glow. And the last product that I have for complexion, MAC Fix Plus. And boy, does the bottle look different now. I recently got this in a PR package, actually. I still had some Fix Pluses in my collection, but this is the newest packaging of it. Do you remember the bottle? It would make funky noises. It was like flat on the top, and it would be like, when you would put it down. This has a new mist, which is so much less like a shotgun than the older packaging where your face would just get drenched and you'd have to close your eyes. Much safer, softer mist. So that's a plus. Honestly, this is a non-offensive setting spray for me. I think the setting spray game in the industry has really stepped it up. There are so many amazing different things that setting sprays can do. When we were using MAC, I swear we didn't even know what this did. This is alcohol free. It's a multitasking setting spray that they says hydrates, primes, sets makeup, refreshes makeup, and more. We would use these to make our eyeshadows more vibrant, which you can still do today. Does this make makeup last longer? I truly could never tell. It's just not intense in any area. Like nowadays, you can go to the store and buy a setting spray that truly does hydrate the makeup and give it a glow, but it's not going to make your makeup last longer. And it's more heavy duty. There's also products that are like hairspray on the skin where, gosh, it makes your face feel frozen, but your makeup is going to last longer. This is not offensive in any way possible. I do feel it subtly hydrates my makeup. It subtly refreshes my makeup. I feel like it helps makeup last longer, but I can't completely confirm that if I'm being honest. It's just a non-offensive step that makes my makeup look a little bit better when I just need a shot of liquid on my face. You know how sometimes you just need to spray something on your face? That's when I would use this. I'm like thinking, I feel like this is one of the best setting sprays in the industry? Not really, but it's a classic, that's for certain. We are fully into the eyes now. It's a smaller section, but we have some fun ones, you guys. Starting off with Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. This is like early. I'm talking like 2010 when everybody could say the biggest piece of advice they could give you, and I'm a YouTube girl, so a lot of these experiences are based off watching YouTube growing up. You have to use an eye primer, we would say. And in 2024, I still think you do. I definitely break the rules when I'm lazy because I do not have an oily eyelid. I will just use concealer sometimes. But for longevity, an eye primer does make a difference. To this day, Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion is one of my favorites, but I have not experimented with a ton of eyeshadow eye primers because I know the Urban Decay works. I have a couple others that I keep in my rotation, but this is one where I have become a lifelong customer. If I need an eyeshadow primer, I will go straight to the Urban Decay section. I will say though, they always do give like little samples of this for gift with purchases, so I don't ever actually purchased this. I haven't had to. These little samples that I get are good enough for me. Keeps it fresh and from drying out anyways. So I actually, maybe they bit themselves in the butt because I haven't had to repurchase this. But if I did need to, if I was all out of eyeshadow primers, I'm a loyal customer to this. It's thin. The eyeshadow lasts longer with this. It does the job. It's a utilitarian, you know? You just need it. It's boring, but you need it. Okay, so eyeshadow, I tried to pick all products in this video that were still available, still talked about, still used. But the eyeshadow industry has been so fun over the years. I wanted to bring one out to make you jealous. You can't get this anymore. They like had 1 or 2 launches of this and then done, finito, never coming back. Are you ready? The Master Palette by Mario. This is iconic. Now I have other eyeshadow palettes that I could have brought out, but I just needed to talk about this. And fun fact, I don't even think this is mine. I stole it from my mom. So this came out in the heyday of ABH, which used to be the hottest, most best-selling brand, especially when it came to eyeshadows. And they collaborated with Makeup by Mario because Kim Kardashian's makeup was so heavily trending at the time, and of course he's her makeup artist. And this just, I felt like I said this palette looked boring, but there is something special in these shades that I can reappreciate in 2024. The formula's a little bit different, a little bit creamier. I don't know, than they were with the other palettes. And you know how good of quality this is? This is how many years old? And I still use it and it was still great to use. I feel like this is as good as the day that my mom bought it. No, but it's just a neutral palette, but for some reason, these shades are so flattering. They're so versatile. They look good with, like, you can't go wrong with the pairing here. You can't go wrong with the look here. There's something that is ingenious. This palette is truly just genius and created by a true artist, one of the best makeup artists of our time. And as you know, tides have shifted. Makeup by Mario has his own makeup brand. He has his own palettes. This is still Mario's best palette. And I think it would be cool to do this palette again, but with Makeup by Mario's brand leading this partnership and like kind of partnering with ABH, but have Makeup by Mario's brand be the face of this as opposed to ABH. I don't know. Can we re-collab here? Mario, you have a whole makeup brand. Give the people what they want. Give them what they want. Totally just added that in to make you jealous. I was gonna do like Modern Renaissance or a Morphe palette, but I saw this when digging through my palette drawers and I was like, that's it. That's the one. And applying it today was so fun. Hopefully my eyeballs don't fall off. I don't know. And then now mascaras, there were so many that I could pick up for this video. I tried to keep my mascara collection small because my eyes can get really sensitive to a mascara that's been open for so long. So I actually have rediscovered Lancome mascaras, so it's very fitting for this video because growing up, I remember when my nose is itchy, but I remember when I was getting into makeup, and mascara is one of the first things, besides like lip gloss and stuff, that your mom might allow you to wear. My mom always suggested Lancome mascaras. They have a variety of different ones in the line. The one that I had is Definicils, but my mom always recommended it to me because she gave me her Asian lashes. We have small, thin, short lashes, and Definicils was great for us because it has a thinner wand. Anyways, I happened to pick up this mascara recently and re-review it already, and I love it. It's not going to give you much in the volume department, but it does give great length, and it just makes my lashes visible while being lightweight, so it holds a curl better. Now, I got on falsies. At the end of the day, if I have falsies, I'm good. But I've experimented with other Lancome mascaras as well. And just in general, yes, I think Lancome has still got it. I will say, with all of the mascaras in the market today, I don't think like Lancome is king anymore. There's a ton of amazing mascaras out on the market. But they still have a foot in the game. That's for certain. Still really great formulas. But nowadays, you know, the drugstore has so many great options as well. So sometimes it just doesn't make sense to pay the money for a Lancome mascara. But I will say the formulas are still quite competitive with all of the other ones out there. And what will be forever the most iconic staple lashes that still have to be bestsellers at the drugstore? Ardell Demi Wispies and Wispies. I used Demi Wispies today. Demi Wispies are the ones where it's shorter on the inner corner and then longer on the outer corner, and then Wispies is not just the same length. Is it like longer in the center? I don't know, it's more even as opposed to being shorter just in the beginning. I have to chop mine really short to get mine to fit how I like, but especially now more than ever that more natural makeup is in. If you are going for a falsie, people aren't going for heavy Miami lashes by Lily Lashes Miami, right? That's what it was, which were like caterpillars on our eyes. But what has stood the test of time is people are still purchasing Ardell. I think Ardell probably has some better selling styles nowadays, and lashes in general just aren't as popular. People are embracing their natural lashes more than ever. But when it comes to the lash market, you can't go wrong with the Demi Wispy. They are flattering on every eye. They're just natural enough, and I still use them to this day. In fact, I'm using them more than I ever did before because I also used to like to put caterpillars on my eyes. I was looking to see if I had a Lily Lash Miami just for fun for today's video. I didn't have one, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have had caterpillars on my eyes just for reminiscing more than anything. But Ardell Wispies did fit today's theme a little bit more because I wanted to talk about products that we're still selling. I think that these are good basic lashes. You can find them everywhere. They're just readily available anywhere, and you know they're going to look good. You can buy them in sets. They're affordable, and that's part of the reason why I still purchase them. They're just reliable in that way. But I do have Ardell styles that I like more. The Naked Lash line from Ardell is my favorite. I think those are the most natural looking, but I still will always have a Wispy in my collection to this day, so still very good. And now we are gonna finish with lips. And you know who was running the lip industry years ago? It was MAC. To the point where it wasn't even just a formula, there were certain colors that are ingrained in my brain that I'm gonna talk about today. I didn't have all the colors by any means, but we'll talk about probably the best-selling lip liners ever, to the point where I think people are still using them. Obviously not quite as trendy as they used to be, but you don't even need to say MAC lip liners. You just say the color. You ready? Cork. Growing up, my mom used Cork. I think Cork is better for more medium to deep complexions because it's a darker brown. So I also used Oak. Oak was a popular one. Stripped Down I have Whirl. Whirl was popular in the, was it Kylie who made it popular? Or was it Soar that she made popular? Anyways, these are the MAC lip liners that I have, but Cork is the most iconic lip liner, and it's funny because I wanted to make Cork work so bad for me growing up because that worked for my mom, but my mom is a medium complexion and I'm light, so it always looked like very dark, very dramatic on my lips. Now to this day, reviewing MAC lip liners, I still love this formula because they are a wooden pencil formula, so they're drier to apply. You have a lot more control. I don't think they don't set down, so they're easy to blend out. I do prefer nowadays a more long-lasting formula that sets down, but when it comes to application, I do have some of the best experiences with MAC lip pencils. I still think they're great to this day, and maybe it's just because I'm so familiar with the color range, but I think they have a reliable color range and they have any color that you could need. Just kind of my 2024 update. Sometimes you come to realize that the popular shade just doesn't look good on you. For example, Cork, little too deep. The popular shade in the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer was Custard. I wanted it to work for me so bad, even though it was made for medium complexions. Like, girl, I'm Canel. I am not Custard. So Cork was that girl. Now for my demo today, I had Oak, and I used that to line the outer parts of my lip. It's just a nice warm brown, and I use that to give me most definition. And then towards the center of my lips, I blended in a little bit of cork. Because these are a little bit more powdery, I'm able to blend them and make them look more natural. But if I put cork on my bare lips, it's a pretty dark matte brown. But I still love the MAC lip liners. I have lip liners that I like more than the MAC because they're that creamy formulation that dries down and is immovable. But these are still what I consider staple formulas, and because I know the colors by heart and what they look like and that they're going to look good, I'm more drawn to purchase them as well. And then that follows up with lipsticks. Unfortunately, I don't have Ruby Woo, I don't have Teddy. Again, I don't even need to say because you might recognize the shades anyways. It's MAC lipsticks. Not as popular today, but people who were around in the MAC time are still purchasing their staple MAC colors because they know it works and because MAC has a solid lipstick formulation. Now, I feel like MAC has kind of gone through updated formulas, updated color collections, so things are a little bit different. I was digging through a PR package that I recently got from MAC because unfortunately, MAC lipsticks, they don't have longevity. Most lip products don't, but there are some brands that just the formulation lasts longer. When MAC goes off, it goes off. Like it smells really heavily of crayon. So MAC is one that is a quick turnover in my collection, but I just recently got a new lipstick. They've redone their satin lipsticks. They call these the Maximal Sleek Satin Lipsticks. They're made in Italy. Blankety. Do you remember Blankety? This was around in the time that concealer lips were in. Nude, nude, nude was what it was all about, getting that perfect nude. So I was looking through the colors that I had, looking for one that just hit that little nostalgic button in my brain. And when I found Blankety, I was like, yes. I used to love Whirl, and like I said, Velvet Teddy and Ruby Woo are classic. They still sell like minis at Ulta. Those are the two samples that you're going to get. Why am I blinking? There's so many other colors that will, again, scratch that itch in my brain. But I used this today. It's been a while. Like MAC is just a standard formulation. I would say like MAC is not my number one favorite lipstick formulation, but it's standard. You can't go wrong with it. This shade is gorgeous. Blankety. This is a beautiful nude shade. And then with the two iconic lip liner colors that I used today, I have re-fallen in love with this lip combo. I will be going through the other colors that they sent me. The other ones didn't give nostalgia to me like Blankety did, but this is a smooth, thin formulation. I don't think the MAC lipstick formula is iconic because of the formula. I think it's the colors more than anything that make it an icon because people are still buying those specific lipstick shades. If you have a specific lipstick shade from MAC, comment it down below. But I've resurrected Blankety and gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous nude. And the final product that I have to talk about today's video is glosses. Again, I could have gotten into like a matte cream sheen gloss, but I decided to go one step better and bring out the Lancome Juicy Tubes. And I would say these aren't as popular or seen as iconic as some of these other products, but everybody still recognizes Juicy Tubes. I feel like growing up, my mom would get these in gift with purchases in mini sizes, and she'd just kind of throw them over to me and I would like cherish them. So maybe it's just nostalgic for me, but if you've had that experience, maybe you can relate. But no, Lancome Juicy Tubes went crazy back in the day, and I don't know if they're still popular anymore, but they are a recognizable face in the industry here. And I got them recently, in the last few months, in a PR package, and I just kind of pulled them out for the nostalgia practice of it. And honestly, these have such a pretty glow to them. They're smoothing on the lips. I love the way that they look on the lips even to this day. I mean, I don't know if the formula has changed, but I have the newest, most up-to-date formula. But I do not like the way that these feel. These feel a little thick and Vaseline-y to me. So they're thick and not sticky, but they have that Vaseline-y feel. I don't know how to describe it. They look better than they feel and wear. So if you ask me, in 2024, These are an outdated formula. They are not a trendy formula, and I like the more trendy formula of glosses that are glowy, thick, but non-sticky. Because you know what? Sometimes I will stand up for a sticky gloss because they will last longer than the non-sticky glosses, but the Vaseline just kind of goes away very quickly on the lips. So in 2024, is this makeup icon worth it? Does it stand the test of time in the industry? If you ask me, the Lancome Juicy Tubes don't. But I still do reach for them because they're fun. It's just lip gloss, not that big of a deal. Well, I have to say, this was one of the most fun videos I filmed in a very long time. It's so fun to go down memory lane, and re-reviewing these products have given me so much life. And it's interesting how some of these are still what I would consider to be a competitive formula on the market, and some of these I consider to be outdated. A lot of these brands since have updated packaging, they've updated formula to kind of keep up with the times and what people are wanting to purchase. But majority wise, my makeup looks phenomenal today. My skin looks so smooth and healthy. I love my eye makeup. For the most part, all of these are iconic for a reason, and if you ask somebody for a recommendation, a lot of people will feel comfortable recommending these to you. I know I would, because they've worked for so many men and women who wear makeup for all of these years. So let me know down below, what are some makeup icons that you remember? If I go ahead and choose to do another part of this, what products do you want to see me talk about that I missed out in today's video? I already have a running list going, but I could always use your help. I actually asked on Instagram, and some of these spawned from my memory because of you guys letting me know on my Instagram story. So I want you to comment down below so that I can refer back to this if I decide to do it again. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.